We're going to have Bryan and probably Tom as well continue. They're going to share for about 20 more minutes about the vision over at school, the Natural Science and Technology Center.
See, everybody wants to throw that "and" technology center. It's the Natural Science Technology Center.
Well, that was much closer than you typically do.
Yeah, that was, you did well.
Almost did it.
They usually fail and say Ag Center.
Or Ag Center.
Here you go. Stand a little closer here.
Okay.
Real professional.
That's good.
Since we have some people missing, they can watch you later. Hey, so, Bryan and Tom. Thanks, guys.
Just real quick, guys, I am the grower at our school, and our school is far more than what I do. I run the Urban Ag program. Urban Ag basically is growing food in the city, and at the same time, I teach hydroponics. We raise all kinds of animals and such. But Tom is our director at our school, and he oversees not just our building and facility, but multiple career tech centers. So like aviation, construction, and hopefully I'm getting a good parking spot for the air show this weekend.
You got it, man.
And, so,
sure.
But anyway, we've been really close, and Tom's been really behind this movement. Really supportive of the direction that we're heading with the school and growing. And I think together, all of us together, we've seen this vision of something that's amazing. Really changing what high schools can be.
It's remarkable. If I could jump in, he does himself a disservice by saying he's just a grower at the school. The truth is, the vision that we're working toward, you know, and really undertook beginning at the start of this year was a product of me crossing paths with Bryan, who's actually, you know, working downtown at Sustainable Local Foods, and our current horticulture teachers at the Natural Science Tech Center were visiting, see if we could explore some kind of partnership. And I'm sure, as you detected when you were just taking the tour, I mean, the man has just a joy that resonates for the subject that he talks about. He's taking us on this tour and talking about the nutty flavor of this herb and making us eat that. And I kind of lagged behind, and I was thinking, man, if we could get a teacher like this, we could really do something with this school. Because the truth is, historically, and you probably have never even heard of the Natural Science Tech Center. It's over there on Elmer Drive, next door to Toledo Botanical Gardens. And it's a satellite facility, and the students don't go there all day. It's considered a career tech program, which is the new word for what used to be called vocational. But for decades, the school was really thriving, and we had some great partnerships. And when I say decades, I'm talking 70s and 80s. Partnerships with the metro parks. Our natural resources program really was a consistent supply of staff for the parks in terms of their rangers and park interpreters and so on. We actually had satellite classrooms at the Toledo Zoo, and we had a lot of students that would graduate and pursue higher education and become professors or work in biological fields and also work in agriculture. But somehow, over the years, really vocational education across the board somehow became regarded as like the consolation prize if you weren't going to college, which really is absurd, but I guess it speaks to the level to which colleges were able to promote themselves, particularly among like the high school staffs and teachers who thought they were really doing these kids a service by steering them in that direction. But the truth is, everybody has different skill sets, and at any rate, at a certain point, the enrollment started lagging in the Natural Science School, and everybody called it the Ag Center, and they used to pumpkin sale out there, and if you got a kid goofing off in class, you send them to the Ag Center, and it kind of developed that reputation, and we really, were fighting hard to even get into the schools in our own district to kind of promote the opportunity. So I crossed paths with this guy, and as I said, I was just thinking, man, if we could ever land somebody like this would be an honest-to-goodness shot at building what's possible. And I never would have thought it was possible, because the thing they were doing down at Sustainable Local Foods, I thought was such a great idea that there was no way that it wouldn't work out. But for one reason or another,
it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, it actually did. It worked out beautifully for us. So Bryan came on board, and he says he's a grower. He actually was a rare hire for TPS because we hired him in without any students. We hired him to come in and to build a program. And in my mind, we brought him in not just to build a program, but help us build a school. So last thing I want to say is we've assembled, Bryan, we brought in a great teacher named Steve Oswanski, came over from the Toledo Zoo, who's running our animal science program. We have some other things in the works, but what we really want to do is build a high school and academy, with core subjects included, where students can go all day. The outcome being environmentally conscientious, young adults, and I think that's, even more important in a city school environment, where a lot of these kids don't have an opportunity for commune with nature. So that's our goal. I think we're gonna get there. With this guy, he's worked an incredible amount of magic just in 1 year, and that's really why I came out here today, because I enjoy hearing the guy speak, you know. I was helping him dig, you know, post holes at his house yesterday. I came back today for more. So.
Keep suckering him over and over.
Talk a little bit about your program.
Well, great. So guys, a kid that goes through my program essentially is going to, I mean, aside from having a blast, the kids are going to, they're going to learn how to grow food hydroponically. They're going to learn how to breed tilapia. They're going to learn about breeding a freshwater shrimp species. Really cool stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of low-impact farming practices. And what's becoming the new big thing, and I've been reading a lot about this, but that agricultural drones are a big thing. And I did some more investigating today. This is huge. But if we can get into that, we can actually be training individuals to work with farmers. I mean, this is a very applicable skill set. I mean, aside from it being really cool getting to play with drones. But the fact is, it's a highly marketable skill right now. And the mapping softwares to map a farmer's plot with infrared cameras on these drones, it's amazing. You can get a 30 to 40% greater yield with the data collected from somebody who knows how to do this properly. So anyway, these are just a handful of the things that we're doing. We do breed chickens at the school. So right now, we have a hydroponic setup in there. I'm going to make the kids set up the field production. We do have the bees rolling. We've got the honey flowing. We've got, well, I'll just tell you, Sean's been there, Scott's been there. We do have 3 crocodiles at the school for animal management. You want to talk about getting kids' attention? I mean, so when it comes to like agriculture, you have got to be cooler than anything out there. So you can't just like, and here's the gecko and the iguana. I mean, you got to be like, this damn thing's going to bite you. Be careful. Like, you got to make it cool. And if they're afraid a little bit, that element is super cool. I'm trying to create like a scary chicken, like getting one of them. I'm trying to find my version of that. Like, look out for my honeybees kind of a thing. But the animal science program, I mean, we've got these alligator snapping turtles from Louisiana. These things got the 3rd most powerful jaws of any animal in the world. And so when kids learn to handle and manage these things responsibly, they are incredibly hireable by any zoo around the world. We've actually bred critically endangered axolotl salamanders at the school. So the animal science program coupled with my program, we're hand in hand. The only difference is when animal science breeds a pheasant, they won't let me eat it because it costs $800 and it's multicolored. But I'm always trying to eat everything that they grow there and raise. But I do. I really find it awesome. So these Tragopan pheasants are $800 a piece, but I hear they taste exactly like our pheasants here locally. So anyway, we'll get to that. And for your sake, quail breeding is coming. So okay. Yes. Quail are an amazing source of protein when you are running a zoo. So we've got this system that produces massive quantities of quail, 320 eggs a week produced from these things, which would be incredible. And itty bitty eggs, but they are amazing. And if you're a chef and you get to work with these, it's a very unique thing to get to use.
Can we get this group out sometime?
Oh, I'd love to. Actually, I'll make sure that I get our card out and let everybody come and see the school.
We could set up a night or a meeting or.
And it's really cool to get everyone out.
Would you do that?
Totally.
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
So here's what's exciting for you being a chef. So my students, I'm pushing for on their senior year, individuals that want to go into the business of being their own entrepreneur/farmer, those students will be more or less creating their own business. They will pursue their own LLC. They will now own a company. That student will work with me to recognize and or determine, evaluate which chefs in town would like to sign up to be their sole customer. That student would put their emphasis only on that one chef and in serving that one chef with their production. That kid spends that entire year serving that one chef. That's their grade, is to create this business, to own this business. When that kid graduates, we have enough space that we can continue that partnership where they can continue growing at the school for a 1-year period of time. That's where University Church comes in. This church has a lot of land. There's a lot of other churches that have land. So if that student can lease land for, say, $200 a year, which is kind of the going rate for agricultural land for an acre, but give them a space, they have a safe place. The church no longer has to water or mow or maintain that vacant land. That student keeps that business when they graduate. They own that. So they can graduate from high school making somewhere from $15,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on how good of a grower they are, how active they are, how much they pursue this. And also at the same time, they get the benefit of the community wherever it is that they're growing. They can choose to expand or pay for themselves to go through college. But the idea is to create young entrepreneurs in the world of food. So Northwest Ohio currently spends $500 million a year importing 98% of the food that we consume. So if we spend $500 million a year on Mexico and California to grow food that we are perfectly capable of growing ourselves, there's a huge problem right there to me. We have this massive void, and a lot of people don't know this, but back in the day we used to have like massive storages of food, like dried food, canned foods, all these things. We don't need those anymore because we have grocery stores. But if we had one oil crisis, we are 2 days away from starving to death right here. We do not have our own food here. If there was some sort of biosecurity issue, we only have 48-hour supply of food in Northwest Ohio. Same thing goes for Detroit, same thing goes for everywhere around here. So zombie apocalypse is nothing compared to what a likely terrorist attack would be, which would be a bioterrorism act. 2% of the food that comes through in the shipping containers that we import is inspected. The rest of it goes uninspected. There's no possible way that they can inspect all the food that comes through. But one outbreak of anthrax, I can guarantee you that every grocery store would be closed because they have no idea where it went, who's got it, what's going on with it. FBI knows this, CIA knows this. All of these agencies know this, NSA, but they're afraid to talk about it out loud. This isn't like some crazy NPR scare tactic. It's just, I mean, if I were to attack our country, that's what I would do. I would hit our food system because we would be so screwed because we don't grow our own food. So anyway, if we were to capture even just 1% of that business that we are totally just throwing to Mexico and Canada, or California, could you imagine how much that would affect our local economy? I mean, all we do here is we grow corn and soybeans, primarily so we can create plastics and make cows big and fat real fast. That's the real reason for it. So I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in producing producers. It would be so cool if you could go to a restaurant and actually know both the farmer and the chef. That would be really cool. I would get like goosebumps over something like that. Yeah.
What kind of nitrates, phosphates, insecticides, pesticides, what kind of stuff do you use? Do you use organically?
IPM, integrated pest management. So the way I deal with pests, primarily, and you can look up IPM if you're interested in this. Integrated pest management means integrating biologicals with mechanical practices to remove insects, funguses, viruses, bacteria. So that can mean, and organics are included in this, organic pesticides, things like hydrogen peroxide. So I use a product called H2O2, which is how I get rid of downy mildew, which is essentially hydrogen peroxide. Another product that I use is something called Aphiduous colemani. Aphiduous colemani are also known as parasitoids, tiny wasps that their favorite thing to do is hunt aphids and sting them and lay an egg in them. That egg hatches and eats the aphid alive. So it's good to keep a few aphids around to make sure that you can get a big enough naturally occurring colony of the colemani. They're really cool. Another thing I use is predaceous mites. Predaceous mites, you can buy these things, right? I mean, it sounds funny, like, where do you get Aphiduous colemani? Where would one find?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Predaceous mites. So all of these things are, believe it or not, there are massive companies, and this is all they do is breed these insects. So say, for example, the nematodes. We have predaceous nematodes that you can get. You can actually spray those on. Does everybody know what a nematode is? They're like the building block. They're like the foundation of every single food chain. Every food chain starts with nematodes. Nematodes are these itty-bitty little microscopic to macroscopic worms. These things are so tiny and so plentiful in different species. Right now we know of over 300,000 species. We've only named 80,000 of them. I'm sorry, 3 million different species of these. But anyway, they are finding that they have a huge use in agriculture. Nematodes are becoming like the big thing right now. So run out and get your nematodes, okay? So anyway, that's what IPM is. As far as it goes with fertilizers and such, it just depends on what I'm growing and where I'm growing it. Organically based, that's a tough question, because if you were to look at carbon is carbon, right? But at the same time, nitrogen is nitrogen. Where did it come from? there's not a lot of way of telling the difference, but of course.
Not so much the chemicals that I'm concerned about.
Sure.
It's the agribusiness practices which create foods which are unhealthy for everybody who eats them.
I am a...
Destroy the lands that they grow them on.
Absolutely.
The other ones that are shipped from Mexico and California.
And we chew it up.
Growers are a hell of a lot healthier.
That's true. California is basically the leader in the organically produced stuff. But at the same time, remember this, organically derived pesticides, for example, a lot of pesticides that we've been using for years and years, like pyrethrins, those are organic, but in large quantities, it can hurt all of us. I mean, when I apply pyrethrins, it says I have to wear a full suit and make sure I stay out of the way for the next 24 hours and don't touch it until it dries. So does that sound like a good practice? I mean, wow, I'm spraying this with something I'm not supposed to touch. So, but it's okay to eat it, right? Or the use of BT, which is a bacteria that when it gets inside the stomach of an insect, it makes its intestines explode. But it's organic. So it is important to know where all your things come from. I'm down with a lot of this stuff. I do think a lot of this stuff is cool. And a lot of these things happen without us knowing it. These are just biological happenings or practices, or it's just the way it happens. So, you know, knowing what you're using, my favorite method for controlling insects is still go out there and I just squish them one after another. I get great joy out of that. What's really fun to do, take a 2-liter bottle and collect your Japanese beetles. And then put them in your chicken coop and watch the chickens just sit there fighting as the Japanese beetles climb out one after another, creating eggs for you, which is great. I mean, an excellent protein source. So anyway, that's the best organic practice right there, doing it by hand. Another thing to do, you look out for powdery mildew. And if you're growing any sort of cucurbit, the squash or melon family, you're going to get powdery mildew, downy mildew eventually on your crop. Well, all you have to do is watch the weather, and you will know, oh, I need to go out there and spray peroxide tonight. I mean, those are just simple little measures you can pay attention to. Yes, Scott?
This is both a question in 5 minutes.
Great.
So as you know, the class works together to go volunteer and share experiences at different places.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you'd be interested, I'll post this later, but maybe what we could do, everyone, is do like a little poll to see maybe a day of the week that would be open from now to the end of September. Oh wait, you have school. But anyways, a time to come and visit and help out and learn some of these things.
That would be amazing. And I can tell you this, school starts in 4 weeks.
18th?
Yeah, that's...
Wow.
Is this in like Toledo?
Yeah, right down the road. Right down the road.
Sorry,
Nashville. I would love, actually I do need a hand in doing a couple of really cool projects. There are some things that I would like to have done sooner than later. So if anybody on an individual basis would like to participate in any of those things, but perhaps for the whole class scenario, if you would like to wait until September-ish.
Oh, between now and then, we'll just
Okay.
do a little doodle poll or something, and we can all
Great.
pick dates.
That would be great, because I have a lot of plans to get started right now. And I want to make sure that the students come to the school and there's a lot of cool things. I want them to be excited from day one. And so if I plant my butter crunch lettuce right now, I know that in 5 weeks these kids are going to take home massive heads of lettuce on the first day of school. I think that would be pretty cool if each kid, they're like, wow, we're going to produce this? This is great. Yeah. And you're going to charge somebody $3 a head for this. So we will have a market stand at the school. We are fully equipped. We have walk-in coolers. We have all those things. Our eggs, we have Well Summers. If you're not familiar with that breed of chicken, it produces a very similar egg to the Copper Marins. It's a very, very dark egg, really high fat content. I know. They are outstanding. I mean, that is my favorite poached egg right now. I can't get enough of them things. They are out of the charts, man.
Is there any way that you can grow food that can go into, like, I know some high schools, greenhouses have salad bars. So you could be selling the food to the public schools, even though you're growing it for them. Or they could just write it off as it's worth this much money and you contribute. I don't care. They need to acknowledge you're feeding.
So I'm going to a conference in October on that very topic.
Okay.
And this is the Farm to School program.
It's good training.
But the funny thing is we are the only farming school at the Farm to School conference. So it sets us up in a really good position. Most of them are just regular elementary schools, high schools. It's English teachers like, why can't we get good food in our school? But I'm very fortunate. Thanks. Wow, well, we actually go out and just pick our lunch every day. And it's really cool. I mean, to establish our own salad bar and then incentivize the students with a card. Every time they make a healthy choice, like they choose to eat lunch from the snack bar or salad bar, instead of the vending machine, you give them a stamp, and or bring your mix up, pick your veggies, and here's your smoothie. We just keep the thing rolling all day long.
Staff too.
Yeah, yes. We'll make a killing off the staff. We all need to eat better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
Yeah, but anyway, questions? I'm open.
When is that conference for the school?
The farm to school?
Yeah,
I will pull that up and forward that information to you.
cool, that would be wonderful.
Not a problem. I'll make sure you see it.
Layers that,
This is a group from Columbus that's working with OSU Extension. They're working really hard at this. I mean, Cleveland's so far ahead of us. They've already got farm to school going on in like multiple districts. Actually, even out in Bryan, Ohio, they've got farm to hospital going on and farm to school already. And it's just unbelievable. And they're not dealing with all the BS that you have to deal with. GAP training is one thing, good agricultural practices. Good luck going for that Primus Global Food Services thing. If you want to sell food to Kroger, I mean, you need at least a $200,000 facility that just guarantees the cleanliness factor. You're not allowed to even look at it unless you're wearing a face mask, beard net, hair net, everything. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yet, it's because it's in, if you do grow indoors, it's twice as bad. If a bird poops on your field anywhere, you're supposed to like remove like all 4 feet of crop everywhere around you. How many farmers are out there watching all the, oh, dang it, he crapped again. You know, you don't, who's watching the birds? If a fly lands on a plant, you have to destroy it. Things like that. You can't keep up on this stuff, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's what the rules are. And so there's these organizations, they'll charge you $3,500 to train each individual. It's $3,500 for you, like everybody in the organization. But I also saw the same people that teach that, but for a mere $2,000, they'll train you to be a trainer. Yeah, that sounds legit, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like some UN bull crap to me. I don't know. Anyway, I wasn't very happy with that. So, any other questions for me? Nope. Yes, Scott.
One more.
Please.
So in the Agripreneurship program
Yeah.
here, when people finish the course, we pay their way to go to the Assets Toledo course, which hooks them up with business mentors, you know, for people
Beautiful.
who had some successful experience running business in Northwest Ohio. When your students finish at the school, do you have like a follow-up plan or an exit plan with them? And if not,
They're going through the Agripreneurship program here.
okay.
But they'll be doing that before they graduate. I'd really like to make this a part of the program itself.
Sure, and just on a personal note, I'd love to see the people who participate in the class this go around also engage and interact with the students that you are working with and that you graduate. That's really one of the key reasons I wanted to bring you guys in today, is just to increase that greater community connectivity between our students and our adults, because sometimes we have that generational gap and punk kids don't ever get to interact with the folks that could be impacting their future. So.
I got to tell you, man, I have met some of these kids that are going to be in my class next year, and I'm beside myself with excitement. These kids are brilliant. They are excited about this. They've been volunteering already with me over the summer. I can't wait till school starts. Wow. I wish every kid felt that way about something, you know? And now I've got, most of their parents are asking, how can I come here? I mean, it's that great. It really is just absolutely incredible. So, anyway.
Well, I'm not going to get up.
That's fine.
You know,
I understand.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome
Bryan,
very much.